There at the STF, we observe, Ignacio, obviously. Winning them all because many of them know that. If one falls, the other falls too. That's how we understand our country's current moment. But in the other courts, not everyone is winning. Jojo Toddynho. She just rubbed it in. Justus and his wife also won against a PT supporter, who was even appointed in PT governments, who said that atrocity about a child. The guy wanted to take a child away, and the court ruled in favor of the Justus family. He's a very powerful person, right? Obviously. And the situation is being exposed there. Lula wins because he knows, that the current situation. In the other instances, I'll show you here, guys. Jojo Toddynho she proved that she got an offer from the PT because she won the case, right? Look at the absurdity we're seeing. The great Jojo Toddynho, she's gonna be a big name next year to help us bring President Bolsonaro back, okay? Hit the like button, come join our family, and while you're at it, subscribe to our channel. Isn't it surreal we have to do this? Unbelievable. The press doesn't report it, right? For example, the big ones, right? Globo should be reporting it. If it were a Bolsonaro supporter, it would be everywhere. But the court convicted the teacher. That one, we can't even call him a teacher, right? For attacking a child, the daughter of Roberto Justus. A child, guys. The São Paulo court convicted university professor Marcos Dantas, a retired full professor from the Federal University of Rio de Janeiro, for publishing attacks against Vicky Justus. The little girl was only 5 years old. Actually, she is, right? Only 5 years old. The daughter of Justus and his wife. The decision concerns a lawsuit filed by the couple after the post on the former Twitter, right? On X in June of this year. That atrocity, we showed it here. In the post, the teacher wrote, "Only guillotine for a child." Wasn't this a case for the courts like they did there and all, granting compensation? It was a case for imprisonment. Look at what they're encouraging. Look, it's barbaric. Commenting on the photo where the girl appears with a designer bag. Justus is a person who has wealth. If he can't buy a bag that his daughter wants, and another one, his wife also has huge social media accounts. She gets a lot. They do whatever they want with their money. That's their intention, right? To tax the super rich, because there's a lot of envy, right? The decision, obtained by the Metropolis portal, orders the professor to pay 50,000 reais from the lawsuit to Justus, 50,000 to his wife, and 50,000 to the child. Saying that someone should be sent to the guillotine means you want to see it happen. Unfortunately, guys, because of this evil, I can't believe I have to go through this. But we have to show that in other courts, they don't keep winning. They keep losing. The guy has to be a really, really evil mind to wish that on a child, right? The respondent's message should be recognized as hate speech for recommending the death penalty for the authors. Because of the simple post on social media revealing extreme contempt for the human condition and the violation of their personal rights. If the respondent did not agree with the author's lifestyle, he could criticize, but he is forbidden to offend, much less advocate for their extinction, the judge said. Congratulations to the judge. Lawyer Rafael Pavan, representing the family, said the lawsuit proceeds will be donated to charity. Look, Justus is really conscientious, right? That this money will bring, right? They got in touch with the guy, right? With the so-called teacher, but he didn't want to say anything else. Just so you have an idea of how our universities are. And one detail, he worked during the transition from President Bolsonaro's government to the other guy. He worked in the transition, and he had already worked in other Workers' Party governments. In other words, he's a well-known person among all these figures in Lula's government. He's a familiar person. And within Lula's government, the guys are wishing for this. For children. Obviously, I would agree that it had to be exposed as much as possible. It had to be exposed as much as possible. But can you imagine this happening during President Bolsonaro's administration? They'd already be in jail, and deservedly so. But that never happened. Just stories and narratives. Daniel Silveira. Whether you agree with him or not, I personally don't agree with what he said. Right? It's because we also saw all that nitpicking during President Bolsonaro's government. A congressman, right, who has the right to express himself however he wants. At least, who's there, with whatever opinions and all. He was arrested for a crime that Moraes made up, right? Perpetual, right? In other words, it was there on the internet, right? So it could have been used to arrest him. How many statements from PT supporters do we see in similar situations and nothing happens? That guy from the union who said they needed a good ditch, a good shovel there for the people on the right. The justice system never did anything special, right? We know very well where it comes from. Another one who also won, in a wonderful way, Jojo Toddynho. All this week, Jojo Toddynho proves she received an offer from the PT and wins the lawsuit brought by the party. The PT even wanted to sue Jojo Toddynho, right? They went there and sued her because she spoke out. She got an offer to campaign for Lula. She didn't accept it for 1.5 million reais. I trust Jojo, not those people. The Public Prosecutor's Office of Rio de Janeiro dismissed the PT's criminal complaint against singer and influencer Jordana Menezes, Jojo Toddynho. The party accused the artist of defamation after she stated in a podcast that she received 1.5 million reais to support Lula's campaign in 2022. Why did they do that? Why did they file a lawsuit? Because Jojo, just like she received it, others received it too. Can you imagine if these people started spilling the beans? It's a crime and a lot of money for political support. And Jojo declined. The party, in tremendous desperation, the committee considered that Jojo's statement was generic. It doesn't mention the party or leaders directly. In the report reviewed by the news team, prosecutor Carlos Gustavo Coelho said it's unclear who made the offer, the PT, a member, a businessman, or a financial institution. Because interference or assumptions about conduct aren't allowed in criminal law, the magistrate wrote this in a section supporting the singer. The statement came after a conciliation hearing, which ended without an agreement. Jojo refused to record a retraction video when PT requested it. With the MP's opinion, the Rio de Janeiro court will make the final decision on dismissing the criminal complaint. Jojo publicly stated that she has moved closer to conservatism. In a video on her social media, she declared that she is a conservative. She joked about being right-wing, but still sings funk. Guys, look! People ask, Fabiano, are you right-wing? I am. Are you conservative? Very much. But what are you then? Bolsonarist? My God, Holy Mother. Why? We've started to understand, in recent years, right, my friends, what it means to be conservative, what it means to be right-wing. Do you know why I'm a Bolsonarist? I'll explain now. Because the only person of real importance who represents the right, who represents conservative values, which is where I fit in. Right? It's President Bolsonaro. So notice, there's the Bolsonaro supporter, the conservative, and the right wing, and the rightist, right? The three are basically the same group in these three spheres, right? Together, close to the extreme. But the only one who truly represents us is the right, who stands up for our ideal values. Jair Messias Bolsonaro, he's the leader. Conservatism. He and Professor Olavo de Carvalho, both of them, right? And we've learned a lot over these years from what President Bolsonaro has taught. Sometimes Jojo Toddynho, for example, she didn't even know what me, for example, I used to cover soccer. I covered so many other stories. I did street reporting. But many years ago, I didn't even know what I was. Then later, as the years went by, when President Bolsonaro got into politics, we understood. Hey, wait a minute. Those values represent me. That's what I want in a candidate. He's just like me, just like me, just like my parents. All of that which we created, the way we were raised, right? And that's why we identify so much with President Bolsonaro. It's that simple. It's that simple. You get it? And that's why we say Bolsonarista. So much, my God. Conservative, very much. Right wing, that too. Because just like Jojo, many other people, they understood what politics is, what it means to be conservative, what it means to be right wing, what it means to represent our roots. Right, my friends? One thing I was really sure of, and I'm sure you are too, we hated everything that came from the PT from the left, from all of them. To tell you guys, I also hated that so-called Brazilian Social Democracy Party. I couldn't stand it. I couldn't stand the Brazilian Social Democracy Party, you know? But we were hostages. We had to vote for Accio, had to vote for Alckmin, had to vote for many others, because there were no other options. There were no others. Thank God President Bolsonaro, he got involved, which is why he's being targeted. But there it is. Justice ruled in his favor. Jojo crushed it. Even Ana Paula Schieber and Roberto Justus won $1 million compensation. Share this video on WhatsApp, Telegram, and Facebook. Like and subscribe to the Pais e Filhos channel.